Hello and welcome to Canoe Central in Stockamöllan. Here, you can enjoy canoeing with friends, family, or colleagues in the beautiful nature of Skåne. This guide will look at the 2 to 3 day trip from Stockamöllan to Forsmöllan. It takes about 13 hours to paddle at a relaxed pace with some breaks, spread over 2 or 3 days. The distance is approximately 37 kilometers. You start with us in Stockamöllan and will paddle down to point 17, Forsmöllan, just before Klippen. The main feature along the way is at Billingemölla, point number 2, where you must portage the canoe for about 100 meters. Most people take the opportunity to have a snack or lunch here since they are already on land. You will know you have reached the portage when you see a large concrete and stone foundation over the river from the old mill. The portage is on the left side, and a sign indicates it's time to carry the canoe a bit. Follow the path where you will see the relaunch spot and where others have placed their canoes back in the water. There is a toilet and a fire pit here. However, no wood is provided, so if you want to use the fire pit, you must bring some charcoal. Once you are ready to leave Billingemölla, it's a relatively straightforward paddle down to Djupadalsmölla. Just navigate around some branches and rocks. You will encounter a slightly rockier section at point number 3. Here, the river makes a sharp right turn and then a sharp left turn. Right at the left turn, the river splits into 3 channels. It's easiest to paddle on the far right. Most people attempt to paddle through here, but if it looks too tricky or you don't feel confident, you can easily back up, go ashore, and carry the canoe over the inner corner of the bend, avoiding the entire rapid. Then, continue your journey down to the second portage at Djupadalsmölla. You will know you've reached Djupadalsmölla when you paddle under a high car bridge, and then a little further ahead, a low old bridge blocks your way. There is also a farm on the left side of the river, where we do our best not to disturb the residents. You should go ashore on the right side of the river, a bit after the high car bridge. Here, follow the path along the right side of the river until you see the relaunch spot and where others have placed their canoes back in the water. Now, you have 2 options for overnight camping. The first campsite comes after about 10 minutes of paddling from here, which is approximately 4 hours of paddling from the start. The campsite is called Anderstorp, and you'll find it by looking for a sign by the river on the left side that says Anderstorp, marked as point number 7 on the map. There are 2 shelters, fire pits, plenty of space for tents, wood, and an outhouse. The next campsite comes after about another hour of paddling. This one is called Riseberga campsite and is also on the left side of the river. After passing the slightly rapid section at points 9 and 10 on the map, keep an eye out on the left side of the river for the campsite in the woods. Here, you'll also find 2 shelters, fire pits, wood, plenty of space for tents, and an outhouse. If you choose the first campsite on day 1, you have about 5 hours of paddling at a relaxed pace with breaks to the campsite on day 2 in Kanotcentralen. If you choose the second campsite, about 4 hours of paddling remain on day 2. On the second day, continue following the river and enjoying nature, navigating around some branches and rocks until you reach point number 15 on the map, which is the campsite at the dog training club in Kanotcentralen, where you will stay the second night if you are not making this trip in just 2 days. You will know you are close when you see large old white monastery buildings on the right side of the river. Shortly after, you will paddle into a wooded area. There is a white sign on the right side that says Kanotcentralen. Then, you will see a shelter very close to the river on the same side. This is the signal that you have arrived. Here, go ashore to stay overnight. There is a shelter, fire pits, some space for tents, and an outhouse here. Note that there is no wood here, so if you want to use the fire pits, you must bring some charcoal. On day 3, continue paddling, and shortly after you start from the campsite in Kanotcentralen, the river splits into 2 parts. Here, keep to the right and paddle in that part. After about an hour and a half to 2 hours at a relaxed pace, you will reach the end station and a dam in Forsmöllan. Paddle as far as you can to the right corner of the dam. You need to paddle over a small cable that gathers floating objects to reach the parking area. Here, carry the canoes a few meters and place them upside down with paddles, life jackets, and the map under one of the canoes. The most common way to get from here is to arrange beforehand to have 1 car at the end point and 1 at the start point so you can gather the group again. Alternatively, someone living nearby can pick you up, or you can arrange transportation with us. Now, you can head home, and we will collect all the equipment after 5 p.m. There are outhouses at the following locations along this route. At the start in Stockamöllan, point number 1, number 2, at the parking area in Djupadalsmölla, at points number 7, number 11, number 15, and the final stop at point number 17. When you arrive at the start in Stockamöllan, drive around behind the buildings. Here, your canoes will be located with a sign showing the name of the person who made the booking. After unloading your gear, drive up to the factory area to park the car, then check in with us to receive life jackets and paddles. Please email, text, or call us if you have any questions. Have a wonderful trip on the river.